Hello again and welcome to this new episode of Thundertronics. At this episode I'd like to try something new, something I wanted a very long time, which is to get a PS2, a fat PlayStation 2 console, as you can see, and I'm gonna tear it down and try to clean it as much as I can. So let's get started. First of all, you have to remove everything that's connected to the PlayStation 2, like this free MacBoot memory card, in which I'm gonna make a series about the PlayStation 2 and how to modify it using free MacBoot and so on. So let's get that out of the way, and you should get out this thing, which is the expansion bay. Okay, so you're gonna start from the bottom right here, disconnect all of these rubber feet. Some of them are rubber feet, some of them are plastic feet, so go figure. And I think there are some replacement kits for these. I'm gonna buy one from eBay, which is, you know, to maintain your PlayStation 2 for a little bit longer. So right now I'm gonna disconnect all these screws and get back to you again. Okay, so I got this bottom cover, and let me tell you, this is really clean for a very old console. Okay, so we've got where we want to get in. So this is from the bottom. This is the hard drive bay. As you can see, it's already missing some of the screws. So let's disconnect this thing. Screw right here. You can wiggle it out of the place, and we've got this one out. On this side it doesn't seem to be. Okay, now I get it. See, this is the power supply, and it's connected to the pins right here. Okay, so I'm gonna to disconnect the power supply itself from here. And this is the power supply, and it's, you know, it has some dust, but overall a very clean device for a plus 20 years old something. It seems all the solder joints are nice, and let's keep it for the cleaning purpose. Let's continue. Okay, this plastic part right here, let's get it out. Okay, so all of these, you know, these are very easy to clean. Just rinse it on the water, and that's it. But for the circuit board, we need to do some work. This is the fan connector right here. So let's carefully unplug it. Okay, so it broke, but it's okay. I'm gonna resolder it soon. Okay, so I have managed to get it out just as gentle as I could have done. Okay, let's turn it back to right where we started. So you can start from the bottom or from the top. I don't know if it matters or not, but this from the bottom it seems a little bit easier, because from the top you'll be stuck with the disk drive. Oh, nice. It's finally out. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the magic itself. So first of all, if you don't know what this thing is, it's a mod chip. Let's try to read what it reads. I'm not sure what version this thing is. I didn't know that it was modified, but here in Jordan, every PlayStation that was sold, it was modified, because that's how people play games right here. So the emotion engine, I guess, is from the other side of the board, not from this side. So let's disconnect this one. Very gently, okay? And disconnect the controller cable. Controller, and does it disconnect, or is it from here? Oh, it's from here. Okay, nice. This board now is kinda free. No, it's not. We have to disconnect this thing also. Okay. Now the disk drive is free and the main board is free. And you can guess by now that there is no thermal grease on the... Oh, nice. What is this? Oh boy. Look at that. It's some kind of a way to connect the emotion engine to this heatsink right here, which is, I kinda like it, but it's dusty and so on, so I will try my best to rinse it out. Let's disconnect this thing. Okay. Now the main board is here. This is the emotion engine. This was like the king back then in the PlayStation 2 era. It's like, let's try to read something. No, it doesn't have any details in here, but I guess this is some kind of a MIPS processor. And this is the GS, or the graphics synthesizer, which is the graphical chip on this PlayStation 2 board. The graphics synthesizer, it has some kind of mods for the free MacBoot, which you can make it output 1080i or 1080p by forcing it to output that on some certain games, maybe like Gran Turismo 4. And this battery, it seems to be working as I tested last time. Okay. It feels like kind of dusty, but it is really in a good shape, like the connectors and everything is fine and dandy. Okay, and I think that there are many replacement kits for like these ribbon cables and so on in eBay. I'm gonna buy some to make sure. So right now I'm gonna clean all these stuff, and let's get back to clean the main board together. Okay, so let's continue with cleaning this board right here. I'm going to use something like this alcoholic cleaner. It says 76% solution, and if you can get the 99% it will be better, but this is the one that I have, so I'm going to use it like that. Okay, so I'm gonna pour some of it right here, which is faster. Okay, so I'm gonna grab, if you have a Q-tip that would be better, but right now we don't have one in hand, so I'm gonna just soak it right here and start cleaning. The more you clean your systems, the better, and the more longevity that you have, because dust, if it accumulates, it will create it will jam the air output and it will create more heat in the system and so on. So yeah, it's better if you have something like a yearly maintenance schedule for your system, or you just open them and clean them up. That would be very nice. Okay. Okay, this one is ready. Now let's clean up the fan and the power supply port. First of all, let's get it out. Okay. That one is done. I noticed that the fan is really good, in a good condition, and it's fairly not so high and not so loud. So I'm not gonna replace it anytime soon, since it works perfectly for my needs. Especially now that I'm going to install a heatsink. I'm gonna re-grease the heatsink so it can have a better connection overall, which will further help the system stay cool. And I don't think that there is any controlled heatsink and fan connection. Like if the temperature degree exceeds a certain degree, the fan starts and so on. Because I noticed that once you power up the system, the fan starts moving. So maybe we can modify that in the future by adding a temperature sensor or an Arduino or something like that. But that's a topic for another video, and I don't think I'm gonna really need that, because it's the fan is not gonna be so hearable, let's say that, because the system is gonna be very far from where I sit. So with that out of the way, let's try to disassemble this thing. This is the disk drive, and this is the laser from the bottom. As you can see, these two are the two potentiometers to calibrate the laser. One is for reading CDs and one for reading DVDs. And I tried this laser and it didn't work for PlayStation 2 DVDs, but I have cleaned the lens. Maybe I can try it some other time, but for now let's try cleaning it from this side. Just like that. And the PlayStation logo. Does it move? Oh yeah, it does. Now let's move on to disassemble this thing. Now to tell you how I work usually, look at these screws. Each stage that I disconnect, I put it at the same position. So now I can move from one stage to the other, and all the screws are there. So if I move to this stage and lift one here, I know that I have missed one, so I can get back and return. So this is a nice little tip from me. Maybe you have another method that you work on, but let's say that we all agree that you should organize your work. Now let's go ahead and disconnect this one. This one also misses some screws, so yeah. And to be honest, I'm not gonna use the disk drive anymore, because I'm gonna make a free MacBoot, or I already have free MacBoot memory card lying around, and in the future I'm gonna make a video tutorial about how I modified my own this PS2 to work with hard disk games. I'm gonna use a method called SMB, or make a Raspberry Pi as a server which has the games, and then after it has the games, connect it via the Ethernet port that I already purchased, and I'm waiting its delivery. Okay, this one is out. Time to clean. Okay, this one is done. Now after the disassembling this PlayStation 2 fat, you can get it why Sony actually makes a mid-generation redesign, because this thing, it costs a lot to manufacture. Like look at this disk drive. It's a perfect mechatronic device. It has nearly every component that you can imagine. It has the digital components, the analog ones, the mechanical ones, some parts that wear out, a lot of moving parts, you know. It costs a lot. So yeah, I kinda get it why people yeah, you could say that the slim model doesn't look attractive as this one. This one sparks nostalgia for me, because it was my dream to get one like that back in the day, and I couldn't. But the slim model also works exactly the same as this one in a smaller form factor. Some people prefer that, some people prefer this one, and I prefer this one. Okay, this one looks clean. It doesn't need to be rinsed or something. Just let it dry. Okay, where we are right now, we can disassemble the laser. And for me, I want to disassemble this thing, because in here there is the belt that connects, that makes the drive actually works. Okay, this one is stuck right here. Okay, we are in. First of all, let's clean this as fast as possible, because I hear also there are some people who have this replacement kits for these belts and so on, which is very nice. Actually, this system is plus 20 years old, and people still manufacture and sell replacement parts for it like it was yesterday. It's very awesome. This is why the PlayStation 2 was and will always be the king of all consoles, and none will surpass its might. Not even PlayStation 4 could do that. This one is 155 million units sold on approximately 14 years of its lifespan, while the PlayStation 4 right now, it's only sold something like 103 or 105. It's nice, but it's not quite as much as 155 million years back in the 90s and in the 2000s. Okay, now to disconnect the laser, you should first disconnect these two screws right here. Okay, now the other one. Now you can get it out. Of course, you can just clean these. Okay, put them here, and now we can access the laser itself. Well, it looks kinda opened. Okay, now it's in its place. Maybe this is the reason why it wasn't reading anything. Now, as for the laser, you could put a little bit of this alcohol and extremely gently just, rub it a little bit, and do like that, and that's it. That's all you need for cleaning the laser. Okay, so this one seems fine, and I'm interested in cleaning this one right here because its movement is not good. Now I'm kinda satisfied of this one right here. Okay, so let's get it back the way it was. movement looks nice. Okay, let's reassemble this one. Okay, to get this thing assembled the correct way, get this arm, make it all the way to the side, and then try to slide this the best way that you could all the way to the last, and then make sure this arm is tight, and now movement is all the way in. Okay, now to reassemble it. Okay, so now the disk drive is ready. All we need to do is to put the cover on. Alright, only 2 screws available as we said. And let's just accept that reality. Okay, nice and done. And now let's get started with the main board, and let's just try before the main board this power supply board. And this seems very typical for any power supply of that era, so we're gonna clean it as fast as we can. I do not have a duster in hand, so I'm gonna just do it like this, you know, something to do the job. It doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be perfect. And the joints seem very nice. They do not need any reflowing or something like that, so we're gonna go with this alcoholic cleaner. Okay, so I think I'm gonna just get it done like this and leave it out to dry. Now we're gonna get to the main board. Okay, I'm not convinced actually that these rubber heat sinks are original. I mean, I didn't see that in any other console in any other online video, so go figure. So let's clean the main board as fast as we can. Because now I'm gonna apply a thermal paste on this one when I assemble the board. Okay, now this seems nice. It is important to leave it to dry a little bit before we apply our thermal paste. And let me remember, where was the fan connector thing? It was somewhere around here maybe. Okay, so after I have soldered the fan again, let's try to make a power supply 5 volts ground in here and 5 volts on the red wire, and the fan works perfectly. So let's apply this thing. And remember, this is only a very cheap brand, so it's not gonna be so optimal, but it's better than nothing, right? You know, just do anything like this. Let's put more on the graphics synthesizer. Okay. Okay, after installing the board from the other side, now we need to connect all of these ribbon cables back to their original state. This is the final one for the board, for the reset buttons, reset and power buttons, and now it is connected. Now we need to work backwards a little bit. بعدين معك. Let's hook up this expansion bay. Then install the power supply. Oh no, before the power supply, yet again, there is a plastic sheet that needs to be installed. Put this plastic sheet back. This, I presume, for protection purposes from any short circuit from the power supply, because it's AC voltage and you need some form of protection against that, or isolation, let's say. Okay, plug in the power supply and you are done. Now let's screw this thing fast. Alright, so I have this setup going on right now. I have it connected to the AC power from here, and to the monitor from this, to the component to HDMI converter, and I'm gonna try to see if it works before I close this thing down. Okay, power, it does power, and now I can see the screen booting up. Open. It does open with a few hiccups because I suspect that the plastic of this thing is worn out, so I'm gonna find a replacement if I'm interested in that. but it surely can work if you press it a few times, and this is good enough. So thank God that this thing actually works after I have tested with it a lot of my tests that I wanted to do. And right now let's completely close this thing. And one of the most important thing that this thing is working, because I had to resolder at least 10 times because of the very thin wires that I have broken, because it's my fault. So let's close it, and we'll see after that. Now I will put this connector thing in its place using this ribbon connector. You have to be very, very careful about these types of connectors, because they are so fragile and they can break, and now you will search for a replacement for a very long time before you find one. So being extra careful in here actually is worth it. Let's try to gently lift it out. Okay, now it is in its place. The power is out here. This thing hopefully still not broken. Okay, I'm gonna put it like that for now. So now let's try to cable manage that thing. Slide it in and it sits right on top. Okay, so now we are going to put this thing here, sliding this fan inside, and now carefully manage. Yes, it does. Okay, everything seems fine. Now this thing goes inside like that. Done. Okay, this one is very simple actually. Just slide it in, just carefully manage that cable inside. And it's done. Okay, let's test it one more time before we reconnect it. Let's wait until the monitor is on, and it is on now. I'm gonna press start. Perfectly fine. Get out, get in. Okay, and I'm gonna check this controller that I have to make sure it fully works. Oh yes, it works. Let's try this free MacBoot memory card. Okay, so let's restart the console again. And it should start with free MacBoot. Yes, it started with free MacBoot. So now everything is perfectly fine, and I'm gonna just reconnect all the screws back in, and that's it. Now it should be fully functional. And now it is fully functional and got back the way it was again. So thank you for watching, and we will see you again in another video. Goodbye.